Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Harley Carnes Podcast. Harley on the headlines. It's just me talking about what's going on briefly. Liking, following, subscribing helps spread the invitation to other people. Thank you for doing that, too. For those who pay attention to the news during the weekend, a lot of what's around today is not going to sound new. Tragically, a 7th U.S. service member has died during action in Iran. Crude oil passes $100 a barrel, not because there is any shortage of oil, but because of Wall Street speculators. In fact, the free passage of oil through the Strait of Hormuz is likely to continue to move through on tankers as U.S. naval ships ride shotgun. Iran's Shiite ruling mullahs have named a new Khamenei as their supreme leader. Mojtaba, the new Khamenei. He's unlikely to survive for long anyway. I don't have to work on that name all that much. So goes the prayer of millions of Iranians. Here's a new headline. A federal judge named Royce Lamberth has ruled, even though President Trump named Carrie Lake to be the acting director of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, she had not yet been confirmed by the Senate to the job, and therefore her work to dismantle Voice of America was not legal, and the judge has ruled more than 1,000 people ought to get their job back. The same judge is trying to order the Trump administration to restore Voice of America. I say trying because now it's a legal fight, and that'll go on for a while. Speaking of the president, Mr. Trump says he won't be signing any more legislation from Congress into law until the SAVE Act is on his desk for the signature. He said it's got to move to the front of the line. The SAVE Act is the bill passed in the House, not yet passed in the Senate, that would require U.S. citizenship and a proper ID to vote, and that stops the mutilation of young children for sex changes. The bill is supported massively by Americans, Democrat, Republican, Independent, and right and left of center, and every ethnicity, though the far left, of course, has a problem with it. And Senate Democrats dance to tunes tootled by the far left these days. That's why the bill hasn't passed yet, plain and simple. There's a man in Malaysia with 42 teeth. That's 10 more than usual. He didn't even realize anything unusual was growing on until a few years ago when there were 38. Since then, 4 more teeth. He has a serious array of molars, 2 rows of them, and the Guinness Records people say he has 2 more teeth on the way. Of course, it's a record at 42, and he'll have 44. Who knows whether he's done yet? Here's the thing. They came in straight and even. He's good with it. Bring on the hard candy and Brazil nuts. He can crunch them, no problem. Don't be jealous. It's not nice. But in Pickaway County, Ohio, a man won $1 million in a lottery game. That was just a few years ago. Now his wife won her own lottery, a scratch-off game worth $200,000 every year for 25 years. That's $5 million. As she put it, she's retired now. Plans to swim with manatees, go back to college, spoil her pet dogs, and make some investments. Oh, yeah, and share with the hubby. Back to Epstein, by the way. More of his files have been found, 16 pages, and there is stuff in there about Donald Trump from back in the 80s, pre-political career. A woman called the FBI at the time on behalf of a teenager who said she had been sexually abused by Epstein and by Trump. Nothing happened with it, evidently, because the woman has an extensive criminal history, and FBI didn't believe her. As the White House says, Joe Biden's administration knew all about it. They didn't release it because they knew it was bogus. In fact, as far as we know right now, the FBI found no evidence to back up the claim at the time, but the paperwork is in there. The call came in, so they wrote some paperwork on it. And Trump was not the guy with any political protection back then, and sure wasn't protected during the Biden administration, so take it for what it is. Entrepreneurialism, you gotta love it. In Surrey, England, 19-year-old Nate Frendel went to one of the Spiderman movies with some friends a while back. They dressed in costumes. He wore a Spidey suit. People applauded. Someone said, do a backflip. And since he can, he did. More applause. And he got to thinking, if people like it, maybe, just maybe, someone might hire him to show up at a kid's birthday party. So he went with it, bought a high-quality, form-fitting Spider-Man outfit for just under $1,000 and hung out his impersonator shingle. He had the job at a local supermarket. Now, he says he makes more in an hour as Spider-Man than he did working all day at the supermarket, sometimes a lot more. And he says to see the kids really happy when he surprises them at the party, that's just great. By the way, he charges $75 for a 30-minute meet and greet, $150 for a whole hour of it, $300 for a 2-hour party, and he's booked weeks and weeks ahead. Like I said, let's hear it for entrepreneurialism. Pretty cool. Want to thank you for joining in today for Harley on the Headlines. I sure hope there's something worthwhile in that little collection of stories, and I hope you'll help put out the word, and maybe we can get a few more people to join in. Like, follow, subscribe, send some emails. I sure would appreciate it. In the meantime, I am Harley Carnes, and we'll talk again. Until then, do yourself a real favor, if you would. Make some good decisions in your life today. Be happy. That's a choice. And fly safe. It is the only way to get there.